Mayank, hi, good morning. Mr. Sodhi from Amul was just telling us that he's passing every and any commodity price hike on to consumers. But given that agri commodities have also seen a big cool off recently, and that wheat flour is a major chunk of your raw material cost, so I'm trying to figure out whether you're still passing it on to consumers or are you rolling back some of it?
Yeah, so as we go forward and as we'll see the impact of reduction in input prices, you would see some of those things being passed back. But as we speak currently, I think the prices are still high, especially about the agri inputs which are going into biscuits. They're still high compared to last year. So immediate thing would be that there would not be any more price hikes because there was a series of price hikes which were planned by most players. Normally, what happens is whenever you have such huge inflation in input cost, consumer companies they don't pass on the increase in input cost at one go. They tend to try and improve their efficiencies, absorb the cost as much as they can. They improve their efficiencies, and when it is impossible for them to really absorb anymore is when they typically pass the cost to consumer in terms of higher prices. So, and that too happens at a lag. So normally if the prices have increased today, you will see that impact coming in only about 1.5, 2 months back. That's because that's a kind of lead time that's there. I mean, there is inventory in the system. There's inventory of packing material which would be there. So any change takes about 1.5, 2 months. Now, as I said, price hikes are typically staggered. So when they are staggered, there were some which were planned, some more which were planned, which to my mind now would not happen as a result of peaking off of input prices. In fact, we've seen the prices of input material or cost of input has gone down by almost about 20%, 25% from its all-time highs. So and there is some kind of respite to companies, and the immediate action would be you will not see any further price hikes.
Mayank, so let's understand 1st of July, when prices were still high. Were you making money or you were keeping prices lower because you wanted consumer not to feel the burden? I'm just trying to understand the maths here.
Yeah. So as I shared earlier, when you talk about past inflation, some of that in terms of recovering the increase in input cost was passed on to consumer only about 1 month back or 2 months back. There's typically a lead time. If we look at the increase in prices, they have been staggered over last 1.5 years. We have seen about 2 or 3 price hikes. They are typically smaller in nature, about 5 to 7%, because anything more than that sees reaction coming in terms of direct impact on volumes of the product. So normally companies would pass on about 5 to 7% of increase in input cost to consumers through increase in MRPs, and it's done in a staggered way. When there are when the kind of inflation that we had seen in last 1.5 year is there, it was unprecedented. Almost everything rose, right from wheat flour to sugar to palm went through the roof. Crude and its derivatives, which has a direct impact on packaging, paper products, which has a direct impact on secondary packaging. So given those things, we took staggered price hikes. There were about 2 or 3 price hikes across various products, and there were a few more which were planned. But thanks to the cooling off of prices, I think going forward you would not see them.
So Mayank, there was a commodity inflation. I'm asking this just for the benefit of our viewers. Part of that was passed on, part of that was retained. Now commodity prices have come back. So if you have to map the current scenario, which is post the drawdown in commodity prices, at the current juncture, will your margins and industry margins be back to margins what were there, let's say pre-COVID?
Yeah, they would be back to what they were at pre-COVID levels.
So achhe din are back.
Yeah, I would say achhe din in terms of you are neither better off nor worse off. I mean, you are today making margins, but you were making margins probably 2 years back.
Now, what has been the demand trend in this inflationary environment?
Thankfully, we have seen revival in demand. Rural demand, which was a cause of concern, has revived in last quarter. I'm talking about April, May, June. And there are two reasons behind it. One is good monsoons. Not just anticipation. We have seen, good progress of monsoon in last 1.5 month. And add to it, probably a more important thing is, if you look at the kind of realization that farmers have got because of, so that is, I would say, positive fallout of inflation. Because of inflation, because of increase in agri commodity prices, the realization to farmers improved. They had more money in their hand. And as a result of that, the rural buying has seen, a revival in demand. And we've seen, good revival happening in last one quarter in rural India. So that's a very heartening thing. Farmers have more money in their hands today, and they're going out and buying various products. So we are seeing revival. Urban demand was strong. Now add to it, rural demand, which was having some concerns in last financial year, which is now revived. So, and with the onset of festive season from August onwards, we are expecting, good revival in demand across both urban and rural. We already started seeing that.
Mayank, in terms of demand, has there been a change in terms of premiumization or the preference in terms of size or in terms of the total ticket?
Yeah. So last year, rather last quarter, in rural India, I think, consumers were preferring mostly value products. In the first quarter, what we have seen is they've started buying premium products, even in rural India. Urban India, there was, buying of both urban as well as, premium as well as value products. But in last one quarter, we have seen a good growth, almost about, 10 to 15% growth in premium products in urban India as well, which is honestly very heartening. So I think going forward, and I just touched upon it briefly, that with the onset of festive season, we'll see more premium products being purchased by consumers. And we expect the second half to be, much better compared to the first half, with specific, growth coming in, or rather growth specifically being driven by some of the premium products. I think this would be the first year after 2 years of either lockdown or, semi-lockdowns or those kind of things, where consumers would actually be going out and, celebrating the festival. So we are very, very optimistic about it. And we have also started seeing, early trend of premium products being picked up. Rural already has started doing that. Urban anyways was buying it, and we are seeing some growth coming in urban as well, increase in growth as well.
I was reading that recently, or launched these premium products of cinnamon biscuits, oats and berry biscuits as well. And another launch that we've seen, Mayank, has been of Parle entering the wheat flour category with the Parle Chakka Atta, available in 2 kgs, 5 kgs, 10 kgs. My question to you is, why that? And do you have ambitions of launching more products like this, atta, other things, becoming basically a bigger food player in that sense?
Yeah. So atta, to our mind, is, the next big category. If we talk about the category size, annually it is about 1.5 lakh crore. Now, if we talk about the package atta, that's barely about 20,000 crore out of 1.5 lakh crore. So there's this huge market of atta, which is either unorganized or loose, which remains to be tapped. And that makes it, a very attractive space for players who are looking at growth or who are looking at getting into new categories. So we were always there in atta. We exported atta. We had, this brand Parle Atta, Chakki Atta. We launched it somewhere around 1999, 2000, and we had been exporting it. We have extended to domestic market now, with expectation that, with the onset of COVID, we had seen, conversion happening. Consumers were moving from loose atta to packaged Chakki Atta. And we thought this to be a very opportune time for getting into this particular, or rather extending, our product, which otherwise was exported all this while, to domestic market.
Okay, Mayank, we're going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us, of course, about demand, impact of inflation, the ebbing off of inflation as well, and the impact on consumerism. Always a pleasure having you on the show.